Guys, we have entered something so weird. I can't even with how weird this is. We have entered something weird. You don't even have to think of my concepts. You don't even have to think of Splatoon 3's boss battle, which has led to a lot of controversy to people trying to accept things, right? You don't have to think of any of those. You know what I like most about this too? Is if I can show this the right way, you people will begin to understand some things. Do you see down here how it's kind of like that? Okay, so you see this down here? Not the shoe, but like how this shape is right here. Okay. All right. We're not going to try and get too lost in that. Somebody's playthrough. Okay. So we exit out of that. We'll exit out of this. Where did I put it? Did I put it in the other tab? Yep. Now, if you don't know, you can even buy a Pikachu of this thing. Okay, there it is. Yep, you can buy a Pikachu of this gosh dang thing. But the Pikachu is not even really the point. No. The point is, see, here's both their hoodies. Now, the biggest confusion that's actually happening too also is, remember, I mentioned a knight. Okay, I've talked about Sonic and the Black Knight. I've showed you all the crazy things that come from Sonic and the Secret Rings, okay? But this is gonna, shake people a little bit. Just a lot of this is gonna shake people. I don't know how or why it's gonna shake people like this, but it just is. This down here was pretty crazy enough as it is for Team Plasma. Get kind of the idea. The Quest 64 thing really breaks it a lot. And then just seeing how you can write a Q like that. So that's pretty good indication to you that things are getting pretty creepy. A little too creepy, you know? But this hits it in a different way of being creepy, okay? Of course, it makes sense why it's always been like that. I've been, stressing about talking about stuff like this, these two little things right here. But, it goes deeper. Of course, it goes deeper, too. The crazy part is when you align two people with this, right? Then you get to open up a bag of worms that's a very disgusting bag of worms, Just a very filthy, very, very putrid. The idea of shapes, right? Shapes that just you keep seeing, and some people really, when they see these shapes, they go a little bonkers, people that don't really like seeing these shapes. I'll start with, a common one being, a 2-point crown, right? Okay, 2-point crown. All right. It's pretty bold, isn't it? 2-point crown. See, we're not even talking about Pokemon almost, it feels like. You know what I mean? We're not even talking about Pokemon. This is crazy, dude. This part, it's insane. I showed you everything with the rival for a reason. It was for a different reason. These two wearing their hoodies, right? Jeez, dude. Depressing break of matter. Oh my gosh, a break of matter. Very depressing. Oh, so depressing, dude. Gosh, it's depressing. I never thought it'd be that depressing, but man, it's depressing. You know what's depressing? As they're talking about this, and man, it is very depressing. And I love how depressing it is in a way, because it does make sense. So the idea of what they're talking about, that's very depressing, right? Jeez, this depressing stuff, dude. Oh my gosh, this stuff is crazy, dude. I can't with this. They're talking about things that people think is not even possible to a human. But what's possible to a human is seeing when they're bored, right? So yes, it is possible to see when a human is bored, okay? For some reason they're bored, okay? But only as a market, you can be really funny when somebody's bored. Also, you can be funny because people aren't that smart. So I guess there's a whole entire thing with consumer markets too, when your consumer is not smart enough to know what's going on, right? So there is periods of time like that. Of course there is. And disgusting things can happen at anything. Common things that, just grab people's attention, okay? And maybe there was just like a time of point with this that just made sense too, because I do remember specifically, I was curious at this idea. This idea got my curiosity going a little bit. I remember why this got my curiosity going a little bit. Something did not feel right. First of all, they took different pools of Pokemon to make the gameplay. But I was like, I don't know how gameplay is going to really correlate to somebody, or how is gameplay going to be able to get to somebody, right? But then it gets to you because the gameplay, the ideas that they had about it was sending a disgusting message. Oh my gosh, the message is so disgusting. The message of your friend or people that you know around you, like the people you actually know around you, or the people that you try to get to know, or people that you think you know or you don't know, and people that you end up feeling are just like a waste of time, and everything behind that is making sense. Because guess what? Here's the brutal part of it. The brutal part of it is only the smart ones will get to the money. The ones that are not smart are not going to get to the money. And it's pretty crazy. They know how stupid people are. And quite possibly that's the reason why the game that you're playing, the different video game you're playing, maybe the different activity that you're doing right now, or something different that you're doing in your life, is just them marketing you again. And it's not even a video game. And that's it. See that? That's it. They know everything about you. They know about they know about this PlayStation female thing. They know everything, dude. There's not one thing they don't know. And pretty much my brain's racing a little bit about this because everything that's been, oh my God. Everything's been pretty amazing because even through all that emotional stuff that they're doing right now, because they know how people change and get past video games, or they know how people do different things, or they do different art, or just different stuff in general. The thing that's getting to me is they got disconnected from something that was good for them to begin with. So they get disconnected from that, right? But another thing that gets to me, okay, so you ready for this? This is what I'm trying to build up to of this. The thing that you thought was not good has something good. Yeah. The things that you thought were not good have something good. And that's why we're having a bunch of morons, look at Pokemon Sword and Shield. But for them to know about a fabric of this, or know about a fabric of what other stuff is going on, right? And then there's the really annoying thing, and this is where it really gets hilarious and funny, is you have even this common person who's going to go to a different form. This person. This person's not going to go to Pokemon. They're going to go to a common something else just because they want to see something else, And there's that person, they want to go and they want to see something else, right? And here's the sick part of that, right? Here's the sick part behind that. It may not be Pokemon, right? Okay. It starts to begin something like Shadow of Colossus, right? Starts to begin something like Final Fantasy. Starts to begin something like Xenoblade. But it's kind of funny too when you think about the funny stories that people like to read. They like to read, the diehard Final Fantasy fans. But then when you boil down the diehard Final Fantasy fans, because that was a real thing, and people were finding, they were like, what the heck is this? But then the thing that you boil down, and then where it gets crazy, is remember the people who are these diehard Final Fantasy fans, the total nerds, nerds. And that's, typical thing that people want to pay attention to. They want to pay attention to the nerd, right? But then in all the frustration, there is a big frustration, because the big frustration is, as nerdy as they are, they still want to eat steak, just like you, who thinks you're not a nerd and you want to eat steak. But then it just gets to this whole point. And then you've came to this 14-minute part of this talk right here, okay? And it's getting pretty crazy. We haven't even gotten to Pokemon Sun and Moon, okay? It's funny. Do you know what I'm saying? It's funny. So funny, dude. Oh, yes, there is a different secret. There's even, I feel sometimes, another one. Of course, I always feel like there's another one. Because I always feel like it's like you're being in a circle, and then you're being in a circle, and then you're being in a circle again, okay? But the other secret, let me tell you what the beautiful part is through all the emotional and all the crazy stuff that I just told you, and how intense and how it connects with real people and does all this and does like a network of this. The craziest part beyond all of it is I've seen this other secret that I've seen from Shadow of Colossus. That in itself is probably one of the craziest things too. Because at age 32, like the happy thing, the thing that's actually happy is at age 32, I still want to see it. I want to see it again. You know what I mean? I want to see this Shadow of Colossus thing again. I have a want to see it. And maybe like that's also the crazy bright spot of it all. And I laugh at the bright spot of it all because it's beautiful. It is. It's really beautiful. It is so beautiful because it goes beyond, people commonly, they go back to, like literature, right? Okay, so they go back to literature. They go back to Bibles, religion, right? Okay, so we go back to religion. We go back to history. We go back to all of those things, right? But I think like one of the most beautiful things I get to tell you people versus like just like listening to me or ideas of me or anything about me is that the beautiful part that I get to say is that there's new literature. Do you get what I'm saying? There's new literature, people. That's the beauty. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's new literature. So yes, that's exactly what you think it is. There's new religion. There's new literature. It's exactly what you think. Yep, new religion and new literature. It really is here. And still mysterious too, Still things I gotta learn, still things you gotta learn, And I think that is like probably one of the most. I think it's just so cool. And when I think about like other things, when I think about other things, I think those are the crazy moments. Because like, if you take something that would be not clicking with you, like if you were to take it and you were to see that. Somebody was to see past all of that and do something that somebody else did, and that happened recently. I'm not going to say the details behind it, but like that's what happened. Somebody was doing something because they cared about another person. So you know what the other person did for that other person? They said, I'm going to help you. So that's pretty crazy, isn't it? Yeah. So yeah, it's honestly, I've met real people. Okay, people, I've met real people. I've talked to real people in my life. I've seen people. I've seen different things in my life. I gotta tell you, isn't that so beautiful? Yeah, that's really beautiful. Because if you think about how beautiful that is, that's the idea that you can not have to depend on these other filthy rats